So the Las Vegas Aces are being investigated over a sponsorship that all their players have received from the city of Los Angeles, or Las Vegas, deeming it to basically be unfair. And is it unfair? Maybe, but like, there's a reason why it's happening. There's a reason why it is unfair. And if this was in the NBA and this thing happened, no one would bat an eye. No one would bat an eye at this happening in the NBA. And the reason why why it's such a unfair thing is because the players aren't being paid by their own teams well. They're not being paid by their own teams. Like, the way the salary cap is in the WNBA, these rookies are coming in on $75,000 a year. So yeah, they're gonna make all their money from endorsements. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, they're making money from endorsements, but clearly, like, leagues just want kind of a monopoly over situations. They want to control the entire situations, and they actually, as far as growth of their game, they couldn't care less. They couldn't care less because this is an endorsement deal. Nothing more, nothing less. Except the problem is now is that the WNBA is fine when Caitlin Clark, Aja Wilson, Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, trying to think who else, Angel Reese, like, who else has like deals with shoe companies off the top of my head. Back in the day, Candace Parker, like all the other stuff Tarassi's doing, Cameron Brink with New Balance. They're fine when their stars make money, but like, when they're making sure that their other players aren't making money, it's a problem. It's a problem then. So basically what happened was the tourism board for Las Vegas are endorsing every individual player. They're sponsoring every player. Mainly because, well, the Las Vegas Aces bring tourism into Las Vegas. They're a popular enough sport team that they bring tourism into Las Vegas. So the tourism board are sponsoring every player. Basically, all they have to do to shut up, the WNBA can't do anything about it, and all they have to do to shut up the WNBA is bring them all in for a commercial and say, this is their fee. This is the fee we are paying them to show up. And like, ironically, these WNBA players, or not WNBA players, like NBA players, celebrities showing up for charity events, sometimes get paid more than this to show up. Like, they'll get paid more than this to show up, but it's not an issue because these NBA players are 100 millionaires, and if they get paid 100 grand for an endorsement by a charity or anything, it's not an issue because it's such a small amount. But because the WNBA players are getting so little, and this endorsement deal is more than their entire year's salary, it becomes an issue for the league. When in reality, the league should be embracing this and looking for more endorsements. Players on these teams should be getting more endorsements. Just because a tourism board wants to sponsor every player on the team because of what they bring to the city is not the fault of the team. It's not through the team, it's through the players. It's through the players and it's through the agents. Just because a team is so popular that they don't just want to market the stars, they want to market everybody because they're happy that their team is in the city. That is not the fault of the players, is not the fault of the league. And vetoing this stuff is just going to tank their league even more because the players barely get paid. The players' playing salary, I'm not gonna lie, you will struggle, like, depending on where you live in America, you might struggle to put food on the table with the playing salary. They might. But all these Las Vegas Aces players, because yeah, they're the best team, they're going to be getting some endorsement deals. And just because there's an issue now because they want to endorse Kate Martin and not just Aja Wilson. And people are like, oh, but like, what if a player takes a little bit less to go to the Las Vegas Aces instead of another team? It's like, well, why do you think Brianna Stewart went to New York Liberty? Why do you think like Candace Parker ended her career with the Aces? Like, why do you think these players are going to big markets? Because they don't make anything for their salary. They don't make anything for their salary. Of course there are going to be super teams. Of course there are going to be super teams when you can make millions from endorsements and barely hundreds of thousands from your salary. Of course it's going to happen. This is not going to change anything. Until the salaries go up in the league, this is not going to change. And the WNBA not only can't do anything to stop it, trying to stop it is just going to harm the league. Because if players are able to make enough from endorsements, if players are able to make enough from all of this other stuff so that they are making a good living, what do you think is going to happen during the off season? They don't have to go to Europe. They can do other things. They can promote. You can never know. There might be some sort of an off season league in America that people are going to be interested in watching. You don't have to watch Caitlin Clark playing in France next year. Like, you don't need to see Brittany Griner going to Russia. You don't need to see people going to Turkey because they're making enough money from endorsements. And that's the way the league should be. Like the way the league is. And for everyone being like, oh, the league loses money, they shouldn't be paying their players at all. And it's like, man, Tesla lost money for its first 10 years. Musk was the richest man in the world by the time Tesla became profitable. Just based on stock. Like the league has made so much money this year. The league has made so much money. And obviously the player salaries are going to eventually go up. And that's not necessarily what the point is. The point is that the WNBA cannot stop people making money on top of those salaries. They cannot stop how people are making money, because as soon as they start doing that, you're going to be seeing more and more players. If it becomes a stage where the WNBA are trying to actively diminish their players as far as their ability to earn money, whether it's their ability to earn money or whether it's their ability to broadcast or become relevant, if the WNBA haven't been pushing their players, and I'm not sure if they're doing it right now. The fact is Caitlin Clark's there, so they kind of have to. But if the WNBA are holding back their players, you're going to be seeing still them going overseas, but maybe a few players might start taking the deals that every overseas team will offer them. Like for years with Taurasi was offered more money to not play in the WNBA from her overseas team. Her overseas team would pay her over $1 million, I think it was over $1 million a year, and then whatever her WNBA salary was, they would offer more than that as a bonus if she refused to play during the summer in the WNBA. She never did. But they were offers. And maybe if the WNBA are trying to stop the money these players are making, maybe more and more of them start taking those offers. And we're now in an era of women's basketball where the endorsement money is coming in. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. And they're just saying this is an issue because, a player will go to LA because of this, or Las Vegas because of this deal. Man, how many NBA players have taken slightly less money to go to a big market because of endorsement deals? Quite a few, which is why they brought in the Supermax contracts to keep players in their teams. They brought in these ridiculous contracts to keep players in their teams because the contract money is so much that for a lot of people, the endorsement deals cannot trump the extra money they can make for staying. However, in the WNBA, by staying in your team, you can make a max, I think it's $250K. Whereas even if you go to one of the New York Liberty, the Aces, who are the biggest teams, you never know what happens with the Fever if they start to be successful. If you go to one of these big teams, your endorsement deals are 5, 6, 10, maybe even 10 times what you would make as your salary as a max salary where you previously were. So why wouldn't you take a pay cut to make 10 times more in endorsements? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? And that's not on the players. That's not on the Aces. It's not the fault of the Aces that they're good. That's straight up. It's not the fault of the Aces that they're good, or the tourism board wants to sponsor them. It is not their fault. In fact, the fact that they're willing to pay $100,000 to even the people on the end of the bench because they believe they're that big of an asset to the city, if anything, shows what the WNBA is becoming. It shows the relevance of the WNBA, and it shows the way the league is trending in a positive way. But the WNBA and the NBA at that, they just want to stop it. They want to stop it. And if you are an owner, and this is one thing that I hate, is one thing I hate about the whole franchise system in American sports is it's not about the sport. A lot of the time it's not about the sport. People higher ups will make decisions against will actively go against the sport to keep the owners happy. And that seems like it's the case right now. And if anything, if you're a WNBA owner, you should be wanting the league to make so much money, because you know what, this Aces team, if they end up being a super team, you're going to sell out your arena against the Aces. And if you are incompetent, like it seems like the freaking Fever are with their coaches, you're at least going to make money when your team plays the Aces, when your team plays the Liberty, when your team plays these relevant players who are making the money in endorsements. Not an issue with the players, because again, with how little they're making from salaries, they got to make money from endorsements. And if the WNBA do anything to stop that, it's going to be a horrible look. It's going to be an absolutely horrible look on the league, because it's not even under the table money. And the fact is that there probably in the past has been players that have been getting paid so much money under the table. This is all there in the open. This is a purely endorsement deal. It's an endorsement deal by the city because they believe every player on that team brings value, and not just Aja Wilson and Kelsey Plum and Taylor. It is what it is. So, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That is pretty much it. That is the scandal. and it shouldn't even be a scandal. It shouldn't even be a thing. There shouldn't even be an investigation. This is a sponsorship deal. The players got money because a company or a board believed them worth the money. This is no different than if Nike came and said, you know what, we're going to sponsor, or even a college team. Let's just say, hypothetically, Nike went to sponsor North Carolina, or Jordan sponsored North Carolina and gave everyone $100 grand. Like, it's no different than that. It's not like, it's no different than Nike saying, you know what, we're going to give every single person on this team a deal to wear our shoes. It's no different. But I don't know. Maybe people are unhappy because it gives the Las Vegas Aces an unfair advantage, and maybe it does. But at the end of the day, big markets always have the unfair advantage in sports. It's what you do. It's what you do as a small market that matters. And you can be a hell of a team in a small market. Tough to compete with the bigger ones, but still, it can be done. But trying to limit the amount of money players make, especially because if this investigation ends up putting a stop to this isn't going to affect AJ Wilson. This isn't going to affect Kelsey Plum. This isn't going to affect a superstar going to Las Vegas. All that it's going to do is affect their role players' ability to put food on the table. And at the end of the day, that is one of the worst things. Like, that's the biggest thing about this, is that the only thing that putting a stop to this will do, if you're the WNBA, which is why I think it's just completely egregious that they're even investigating it, is the only thing it will do is put a stop to their role players putting food on the table, or make it more difficult, or make it so that they aren't prepared for life after retirement. Because, like, the stars, with how low the salaries are, stars are still going to congregate together in big markets because the endorsement deals are going to be 10 times higher. No matter what they do with this, that is never going to change until salaries pick up in the WNBA to an extent where they're making enough from their contracts to stay in their smaller markets, which is not going to happen anytime soon.